Welcome everybody to episode 41 of the ADV podcasts. And once again, we have quite the show for you today.
We're literally going to talk about the massive leak of all the 2 million CCP officials that are spread, some of them spread throughout Western companies. But we're also going to touch on some more lighthearted stuff as usual, because we can't just be dour and sour all the time.
Agreed. So let's just get straight into it. We're going to start with what's new, where we talk about what's new, specifically to do with China. And, well, do you like to hunt monsters?
I do, and I also like to sit on the ground. You took us out of the background. Monster Hunter. First of all, for all the people that are not in the know, what is Monster Hunter? Because you used to play that.
Yeah, it's a game where you basically run around and you kill monsters.
Aren't they like dinosaurs?
Yeah, and you can craft your own items and you can go camp in the wild. It's been around for a very long time. It's been on all the old PlayStations and stuff. And I used to play it a fair bit on my PSP when I was living in Shenzhen back in early sort of 2007, 2006 with my friends.
I literally, by the way, everyone, I keep saying literally because they're taking bets on how many times I say literally.
Right. Figuratively as well.
Figuratively. Yeah. I had it on 3DS. I thought it was really hard.
It is. It's not an easy game. But anyway, for some reason they decided to make a movie about it.
Poor choice.
Yeah, especially since it's kind of got...
Game movies usually suck.
It's got Mila Jovovich in it, I think.
She was in Resident Evil.
Which just shows you the level because she's in like 12 Resident Evil movies and they're terrible.
Gosh.
Anyway, so as per usual, these kind of movies these days are heavily marketed towards the Chinese audience.
What movie isn't?
Especially, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the Monster Hunter franchise Tencent has a stake in it.
Yeah.
At least they license it for China.
So usually just to explain... China only gets a certain amount of foreign movies every year.
Yeah.
And if a Chinese company has some backing or they do enough puff pieces for China in said movie, so they have enough, they show TCL or they show Tencent or whatever, or they film some in China.
Milk or whatever that stuff is.
That poison all those kids.
Yeah.
If they do enough China stuff, then they get more access to the Chinese market because the problem is nobody in China is going to buy a movie. But they will pay for a ticket to go to the theater. You can't steal that, right?
Yeah.
So... it's a really big deal to get into Chinese theaters. It's a huge deal for Hollywood movies. Now, the problem is recently, even ones that have been capitulating to China still haven't made past censors.
I know.
Which I love because it's just stop bending down to an authoritarian regime.
I mean, it's kind of bizarre. What was that like new King Kong reimagining movie?
Yeah.
What was it called? Skull Island or something?
Yeah, that's right.
I was watching it and I'm like, why is there a random Chinese actress in it that really doesn't speak many lines or can't, is not a very good actor. And obviously the reason they put that in there is to appeal to the Chinese market. Because it's completely out of, there wouldn't have been someone like that back in the 30s or 40s when it was set, etc. It just, whenever you see something that looks a little off in your Hollywood movies, like Chinese cities and product placement and random Chinese actors that don't seem to fit, now you know why.
Yeah.
It's just so that they can kind of coerce the Chinese market and kind of say, look, we're appealing to you here.
Sure. This is something we've covered in depth.
Yeah.
So if you're ever interested in it, search either of our channel names or ADVChina and search Hollywood because we've talked about this a lot.
Yeah.
But it's shameful, and we thought that these companies would probably start learning that they have no loyalty in the Chinese market.
No.
But no, apparently not, because this is... would you judge this clip as the biggest, most ridiculous one thus far? For the outrage?
For the outrage, probably, yes. Because,
Okay.
let's set it up. We've got, I think it's an Australian guy.
No.
Yeah.
The other guy.
Yeah. We've got it's supposed to be like Australian soldiers in this truck or whatever. Of course, we all know that Australia is kind of in the bad books of China right now, which is probably why this blew up, okay?
Correct.
And then you have a Chinese actor.
Yeah. MC Jin. Well, he's American, but
he's ethnically Chinese.
He's Hong Kong American, and he is the one saying the thing in question, which doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
How this could be racist if he said it.
Yeah.
Anyway, and his explanation's great.
Let's look at the clip, and then we can all know what we're talking about here.
What? Look at my knees. What kind of knees are these? Chinese.
I like the question mark there.
So,
we had a dialogue between the Australian soldier and the ethnically Chinese MC Jin soldier.
Who even started that conversation? The ethnically Chinese guy started
Jin
it.
started it.
So he's like, look at these knees.
Yes.
Right?
He's making a joke.
What kind of knees? Look at my knees. Okay. Yeah. So the Chinese guy's saying, look at my knees. What kind of knees are these? The other guy's like, I don't know. What? And then he's like, Chinese.
Yeah.
It's like a kindergarten joke that you say on the playground.
So here's the issue.
Yeah.
No one in China would give a shit about this.
No.
No one would think this is racist. That word racism barely exists in China.
Exactly.
They do not care about this.
Yeah.
But when they found out, or whoever stoked the fire, that they could turn this into like us versus them thing, they did. So they launched on MCGen, they launched on the movie, and they actually got it. It's not going to be able to be filmed.
So now it's banned
in China.
So after all the capitulation, all of the nonsense that this film company went through to try and appease the Chinese market, they actually, because of this innocuous joke, which by the way, they've interviewed this MCGen guy, and he was proud of it. He was
I thought his explanation was great.
Yeah, he was like, "This is my chance to show that I'm proud to be a Chinese soldier. That I'm representing China. Look, I'm Chinese. My knees are Chinese. I'm Chinese." It was like it's a point of pride.
And he was genuine in his delivery.
Yeah, he was.
Of that.
And unfortunately, because of all this ridiculous outrage mob and the nationalism and the anti-Australian sentiment in China right now, it's seen as racist. They've blocked it. They've completely banned the movie.
Things aren't banned in China for being racist, by the way. This is definitely politically motivated.
Absolutely, yeah.
We just thought it was interesting. And it's too bad. I felt bad for MC Jin, who's like literally has to watch China turn his back on him and be like, no, what you said is racist, when we know that they don't think that.
They're actually just called him racist, basically.
Yeah.
Even though he's Chinese.
Yeah.
Making a joke about himself.
I don't get it. It's not even demeaning.
No, it's not. It's not at all. Anyway. It's like if I'm like, look at these knees. What kind of knees are those?
I mean, I get
Cracker knees. I don't know. What can you say? It doesn't make any sense.
It stems from the whole Chinese, Japanese, dirty knees, look at these, or whatever, that old playground saying or whatever. But it doesn't really matter, does it? Like, it's not even what he said.
No, that's not. It's not that joke. Anyway, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So that's our first thing in What's New.
Keep going a little bit. Right.
Chinese.
Okay, 1 second. Chinese. All right.
Okay, a little campaign here.
Yeah, we got something that's kind of interesting and important. For those of you who don't know, one of the two men over there is an acquaintance of ours, somebody that we've met and who we like and who we've broken bread and shared many a drink with. And also one of the reasons at least one of the reasons I decided it was time for me to leave China, because if he can get nabbed on trumped up nonsense charges and being sort of just detained for nothing just because they don't like the guy because of a political thing, anyone can, especially if you're fairly high profile and make videos on the internet that don't always agree with the Chinese government. So anyway, it's appalling what's been happening to these guys. They were, first of all, just kind of disappeared for about 6 months before they were even charged with anything. And then they were just charged with obscure, like, espionage, No,
it took them so long to figure out what.
Yeah, they were like, what can we charge these guys with? Let's think.
The reason is they're just literally chess pieces.
Yeah, they're just pawns.
Yeah.
They just want to basically put pressure on Canada to release their Princess Meng Wanzhou, and obviously it doesn't work because there's a proper judicial system. It's not like China where it's all about guanxi and connections, and if you put pressure on certain people, you can get certain charges dropped and stuff, because that does happen in China.
Sure.
And you can say what you want, but that is the way China operates, and there's plenty of evidence out there to prove that that's the way it goes. Anyway, there's this lovely campaign. Maybe you can tell everyone about it.
Yeah, so human rights people and fellow Canadians are trying to, and this guy here, you can see his name is Louis Huang. He and many other people are sending Christmas cards to the Canadian embassy to send to China for these two men who are detained. And hopefully bombard them with so many Christmas cards that it, at least causes a little bit of a kerfuffle over there.
Well, you know what it is going to cause is a huge bill for recycling at the Chinese, consulate, because they're just going to toss all that in a dumpster. There's no way they're going to be sent over.
I guess maybe the idea is that someone working there or someone, eventually there will be so many of these Christmas cards that they'll be like, what the hell is going on? And maybe look into it themselves. You know what I mean? Also, I think it's a way to just prove that people care. And also, listen, we're not going to let this slide. Sure.
These guys, they deserve a fair bit of fair treatment, and kind of want you to let them go and stop being so petty.
Yeah.
Anyway,
for sure. Anyway, the address is in the description currently. So
if you want to join in on this letter writing campaign, because that's what it is, really, please feel free. We are going to be doing it ourselves because we believe that, especially during this time of the year, it's all about forgiveness, and it's all about spending time with your family and being joyous and all that.
The CCP is really good at that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just saying that...
I'm joking, yeah. I agree
these
with
guys deserve a little bit of moral support. They've
For
been having to deal with a lot of crap for a long time, and very unfairly. So.
Maybe some nice prison guard will sneak the letters in. You never know. You never know.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, anyway.
All right, so let's do a couple super chats before we move on to our next.
Sounds good. Rick, if Chinese people use VPNs to see the world internet, how would the world view censored CCP internet? Much love, Taiwan and Mexican peer number one. You'd have to speak Chinese to use the Chinese censored CCP internet because it is all in Chinese.
Well, do you know what? Actually, China censors that anyway. Have you noticed a lot of websites you try to go to them with an outside IP address?
Yeah.
And you can't.
I had to do that today, getting material for our podcast.
Yeah. It's weird because, well, okay, first of all, I found this out a very long time ago when a lot of the Chinese websites, they've cracked down on it to a great extent, but it's still not the case. But it used to be the Wild West where you could literally just go watch any movie, download any music you wanted, any copyrighted software, like you could download Photoshop or whatever, off of public Chinese sites. They weren't behind some kind of torrenting site. It wasn't secret like the Pirate Bay or something. It's just like going to Google and you could go and download whatever. It was kind of crazy. So I used to tell my friends back home, hey, if you ever want to go just download a movie or watch a movie, you can just go to this Chinese website. And it used to work for a time. But then I think somebody must have picked up on it. Somebody complained somewhere, and they started to block external IP addresses. So if you were within China, you could still go and pirate and download and view all these copyrighted materials without any problem. But if you were from the outside, it would actually block you. And I think they were doing that in an attempt to kind of prevent outside companies from seeing their stuff being used.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, like I have to oftentimes go to different countries on my VPN to go onto Chinese websites because it'll block the American IP that I'm on.
Yeah,
which is very interesting. I'll usually use like a Hong Kong address.
Yeah. It's kind of it's pretty fascinating. There's some like hate websites set up against us and on some forums, and you also need a VPN.
Yeah,
that you can't actually view them.
Maybe they're confused. To see the Chinese websites.
Yeah, we actually need a VPN. To
pretend we're in China.
Yeah, to pretend we're in China to see some of the things they're blocking from the outside world.
Which is fascinating.
So, they kind of block, the outside world's internet, and they also block the outside world from penetrating into a lot of the Chinese internet. So that's why it's more of an intranet, really.
Tresham1 with $10 says, can you explain to me what the heck milk dogs are? Now, we have to tread lightly around this one.
Yeah.
But the fact that you sent a super chat, you deserve some sort of explanation.
Yeah.
Milk dogs are basically dogs within. It doesn't have to be in China. We saw them in Vietnam.
Yeah, sort of kind of rural Southeast Asian Asia.
Yeah, dogs that have udders full of milk.
Yeah,
as dogs do when they're lactating.
Yeah,
but you'll notice when you go to these places that suspiciously a lot of these dogs are constantly lactating.
Yeah, and
there's a reason for that. Yeah. It's not just because they keep having puppies.
No.
So you can use your imagination as to why they continue to lactate.
Yeah, you can go and search Google.
Yeah, there's actually a definition. Yeah. Just Google milk dogs.
Yeah.
And you'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. We'll do one more. I'm Chuko. Have you ever thought of doing a stream each week? We were talking about that.
We may. We'll see. We always enjoy interacting with you guys very much.
It's the best show we do is this one. We enjoy it the most.
Yeah, we enjoy it the most. Even we've got so much on the go. So many pokers in the fire, or whatever you say. But we enjoy this one a lot. So cool. Should we move on to our next one?
Yeah, let's.
Okay, Soft Power Hour is our main segment of the show where we talk about how the Chinese government is kind of warping your mind through soft power. Yeah, exactly. Guys, let's just cut to the chase. This huge thing that's been going on here with this leak that showed 2 million CCP members, that's Communist Party members, that have infiltrated Western companies and are...
Well, there's a leak of just their names.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, now...
And info.
There's a lot of angles you can approach this from. A lot of Chinese people are members of the Chinese Communist Party. They just are. It doesn't mean it's anything nefarious. It doesn't mean that they are spies.
No.
It's just something that a lot of people do. And you do it to gain bonus points, basically.
Correct.
If you're part of the Chinese Communist Party in China, it gives you benefits that you wouldn't have otherwise.
Correct.
And that's why a lot of people do it. Especially if you are in some kind of government position, you kind of have to. You actually have to be a member of the Communist Party. The problem with this, though, is that if you're part of the the Communist Party, you are expected to fulfill duties to serve the Communist Party. You are expected to do that no matter who you are. Even if you're just a normal average Joe who's just a card-carrying member.
Sure.
If the Communist Party asks you to do something, you're kind of obliged to. You know, for king and country, so to speak, or
Correct.
for dictator and
that's why,
country.
well, you know when he said they're not spies and stuff, that's what I wanted to clarify here.
Yeah.
You're correct in saying that. At the same time, if you are in the Communist Party of China, you have to be a spy if called on to be a spy.
Yeah,
you have to.
If
you have to divulge everything.
Yeah, if they ask you, like, tell us how many people are working at your company.
Sure.
You have to tell them. You can't be like, oh, that's a company secret.
Right.
No, they are above, like the Communist Party basically is your parents in China.
Correct.
They have the authority of your parents. You got to think about it that way. Now, this came as no surprise to me, and I got to tell you guys about the Confucius Institute for a minute here. For those of you who don't know the Confucius Institute, it has successfully infiltrated the majority of universities in the US and all over the globe, actually, as a kind of a cultural exchange program. And while they do live up to that name, they have like Mandarin courses. They put on like, events which show Chinese traditional culture and things like that. That's
excellent Chinese traditional culture.
Excellent Chinese traditional culture. That's not the main goal. The main goal of them is to try and push China's soft power. So if you take a language course through the Confucius Institute, you'll notice all sorts of funny sort of language in there trying to force you to believe that Taiwan is a part of China, or that China did this way, or China does this.
It's literally the segment we're doing right now, Soft Power Hour, is what the Confucius Institute does.
I mean, literally, you will, while learning Chinese, you will not be learning how to speak the language. You will be learning how Chinese infrastructure is so great and how they managed to achieve, all these amazing things. Yeah, you'll be learning language on how to say, 中国第一 basically, or whatever.
Yeah, China number one.
You'll be learning all that kind of stuff, but that's just the start of it. They're also there to keep an eye on the Chinese students that study overseas. Sure. And I noticed that myself. And I've told the story before, but I will tell it again. I went to the University of Arizona to give a speech just when we had released Conquering Southern China. So I was promoting it, and I got invited by the journalism department to go and do a speech about it and show them the promo and talk about my journey and all that kind of stuff. Because one of my subscribers actually is a professor there. So I went in there, and word had obviously gotten out, and the Confucius Institute turned up to my speech. And your typical middle-aged lady. And
desert commies.
And a bunch of other, people in her entourage all came and sat in the class. And one thing I noticed is I kind of started the lecture. All these guys came in from the Confucius Institute. And actually, two students that were sitting up at the front of the class got up and left before I'd even started. And I was like, okay, this is weird. Because they seemed like they had their notebooks out. They were there. They were ready for this lecture. Suddenly, the Confucius Institute walks in. These two get up and walk out. I was like, okay, that's very, very weird. But what was really annoying was, as I was doing my lecture and explaining what was going on, this middle-aged lady kept interrupting me. So I was talking about the harsh conditions of the roads in Hunan, okay, which is terrible. Yes. It's terrible. Right. Okay. Obviously, you've got super highways, but we were going off the beaten path. Of course. So as I was doing
You weren't complaining, by the way. You're talking about the adventure.
I was just like, incredibly harsh roads and things, and she would stop me and say, yes, but China has built new roads and China is great type thing, Right.
Did you tell her to F off?
I was polite, okay?
I know you were.
I'm not. The problem is that it was really frustrating. And I could see the Confucius Institute in action. That's what they're there to do, is to make sure that the Chinese government narrative is the only one that is allowed to be spoken on campus.
Do you know that they actively prohibit the liking or learning of China's excellent culture? They do.
Oh,
You think about it. They don't want people to. You were talking about how awesome Southern China was
absolutely.
And the rules. She didn't want you to talk about that.
No, they just want people to know like the great achievements.
Yeah, look at how big these buildings are. Look at how good China, the party is.
And maybe ancient Chinese culture, they're all about that too. But anything not
China's excellent culture.
No, anything that deviates. Anyway, so this was very frustrating. But guys, this was not the end of my experience with the Confucius Institute, because it turns out my friend's wife worked with them, okay? Because they kind of co-opt all the local Chinese speakers or the recent immigrants. They give them jobs very easily to kind of work. work in the university, they can help out with the events. And it's nice. It's nice for a new immigrant, a Chinese immigrant, to find like suddenly have a click and be like, oh look, it's just like back home. You know, we can prepare for the Chinese New Year. We can make dumplings and things.
Sure.
That's the positive aspect of the Confucius Institute. They do some of that stuff, which is good. But at the same time, I was walking with them and they're talking in Chinese. And what I overheard pissed me off to the, like, you have no freaking idea how much it pissed me off. And to this day, I haven't told anyone what they were saying. But the Confucius Institute woman was speaking to my friend's wife. And she basically said, they were talking about a relative of my friend's wife. She's like, don't worry about it. We can just bring them over on like an education visa. We can just bring them in here and they can, you know, we'll get them to do a little something here, but then they can come. Confucius Institute's just randomly bringing people in for favors or whatever it is and putting them in there. And because they've got this broad scope of being this cultural exchange program, and you don't know who's coming in.
No, it's literally CCP corruption that we know about in China.
So this Confucius Institute can actually be bringing in spies. They can be bringing in just horrible people, random people, people's relatives for favors, you know, help laundering money. Who knows what they're doing? But it's that easy. And I overheard it. And that's just exactly that was the exchange I overheard. So the fact that the Confucius Institute's embedded and just randomly bringing people in, who knows how many CCP
Yeah, well, I guess we
members
weren't surprised.
No, that's why I wasn't surprised that there's so many. Also, the way it works is when you sign up for your visa for the States, for instance, and I know because I had to do it myself, part of your visa application, you have to state whether or not you work for a government.
Correct.
Okay, you have to state if you're a party or you have an affiliateship with, any kind of whatever Communist Party of China. If you're coming from China, you know, if you've ever been, I don't know, complicit in genocide. That's one of the questions. No joke. They have a whole lot of things about did you serve in the military, all this kind of stuff. Okay, and it's basically just on good faith. So if you say no, unless they really dig into you, if you look like a real suspicious person, they're just going to take your word for it. And that's unfortunately what happens with the majority of Chinese immigrants and Chinese tourists and stuff, is they just go no. Also, when they're coming in over the border, I know this because I used to train the doctors and tell them, hey, listen, you're going into Australia. What are you taking with you? And they'd tell me, I'm going to take this TCM, this and this and this and this. And I would tell them, like, you need to, when you write that like customs declaration form, say you have food with you and say you have this, because they're all taking their own thing. They're like, no, they said, no, we don't have to do that. Like every time I just say no, it's never a problem. Right? So that's the attitude that you're getting. And so when they're applying for visas and stuff, they say no. When it says, you know, are you a member of the Chinese Communist Party? They just say no when they are.
Of course.
And a whole lot of them, like I'd say, honestly, probably the majority of these people that are coming here.
Well,
like, from my experience anyway, sort of people that are kind of moneyed, people that have
at least have direct ties.
They have ties, and if you have made something of yourself as a middle class person in China, you usually are a member of the Communist Party, or at least tied to the Communist Party in some way, because that's what's allowed you your success. If you run a business in China, it's very difficult not to without connections.
Sure.
You know, that's just one of the things I'm saying. So anyway, what it boils down to is the fact that it's very difficult for the American government or any other government to know whether or not the new Chinese immigrant or the Chinese tourist or the professor that's come over or the student that's come over, it's difficult to know whether or not they are affiliated with the Communist Party, because there's no database. You can't ask China and say, hey, is this person, part of the Communist Party? They don't allow that information to be shared.
Well, it's not in their interest.
That's also why you've seen, I keep tabs on this because not only my wife, your wife, but our other Chinese friends, especially those living in America, they all have these groups on WeChat where they talk about what's going on in America. And very recently, there's been a lot of worry about this thing, because they're all saying America's going to kick us out if they find out that we're, Chinese Communist Party members. That's what's been going on around in these circles. You had those 1,000 people that fled, that were in research positions and stuff recently. They just fled.
I wonder why.
They fled America when they started to arrest people for being affiliated with the PLA or whatever it is. I think it was the FBI was going after these guys. And suddenly like just 1,000 fled. Okay, it just shows you that there's so many of these guys entrenched, and the problem is it's like a big sleeper cell.
Yeah,
because it doesn't matter if they're working in an ice cream parlor or a high-tech company. When the CCP calls, sends them an email, does whatever, they will be obliged to do whatever the CCP says.
I mean, it's great that this old document was surfaced. My take on it is, appropriate action from intelligence around the world will take action, right?
Yeah.
The issue that I have is it's just going to cause, China's already had a lot of time to regroup and figure out how they're going to continue this operation. It's not going to stop.
Yeah, it's not going to stop.
Unless countries really take it seriously, to be honest. Because China takes it very seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. The problem with that document is that it's from 2016.
Yeah.
And that's a long time ago.
Sure.
And since then, countless more CCP members have managed to infiltrate everyday jobs and all different walks of life around the globe.
Sure.
And there's something to be said about that. It's a foreign government organization. Mm-hmm. It's not like, you're part of the Democratic Party, registered member of the Democratic or the Conservative Party or whatever it is that you guys have here, the elephant and donkey crap that you guys like so much. It's not like...
Love it.
That's different. That's just who you vote for, right? When you're part of the Communist Party of China, it's not about voting or anything. There is no vote. It means that you are beholden to the Communist Party of China.
Sure, correct.
Okay, and you are now a member that's there to further the interests of the Communist Party of China. So just food for thought there, guys.
Yeah. You can show some of the companies that were compromised.
Oh, yeah, let's take a quick look at that. Now, there's been some cross-referencing of some of the names. And let's see what we got here. Okay.
Volkswagen, 5,700 members.
So, yeah, that's a lot of Communist Party members making your German car.
I wonder what their angle is there. Boeing, that's a big one.
Oh, yeah.
AstraZeneca, Pfizer, Qualcomm, Hewlett-Packard, HSBC.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of those are quite important.
Yeah, like banks.
Like Qualcomm.
And Pfizer.
And Pfizer, yeah.
So the new vaccine is going to make its way to China,
They've already imported 7 million.
Yeah, I know. Probably already made its way there before. At least the preliminary research, it's very possible. So, again, not saying that all Communist Party members are spies, but the potential for them to be a spy is great.
Yes.
I'd say 80% if called upon.
Oh, if called upon. I mean, what are they going to do? Relinquish their duties? They'll get punished.
Yeah. Not only do you get punished, but all the benefits that you get will be taken away. And that's the reason a lot of people joined up. It's for like cushy benefits for pensions and retirement and things like, that bag of rice every year or whatever they get.
Sure.
I'm not even joking about that. You get this thing where you get a year's supply of toilet paper and oil and rice and that kind of thing.
Right.
It's just a part of everything. And a lot of it has got to do with stability of your family back home. Mm-hmm. So, if you go against the wishes of the Communist Party, even if you're not in China, it will affect your family.
Sure.
And that's what people are deadly afraid of course.
Right.
So, yeah. Anyway.
Cool.
Right.
Shall we move on?
Let us take a few super chats and then we will move on.
TMD says, waterfalls, guys. Yo, Shrewd says, sending some money to fund an Australia trip. Cool.
Excellent.
Thanks. Zachary, my family and I both recovered from COVID-19. We got sick a few weeks ago, but now we're feeling better and ready for the vaccine. Happy holidays.
Awesome. Can you smell again? Apparently everyone loses their smell.
Yeah. So you can eat like anything. You don't taste it, apparently.
Yeah, so then just eat cardboard.
Yeah, that's good for you.
Well, I mean, you could lose weight because now it doesn't matter.
Sure.
So you wouldn't crave pizza anymore. You just crave blandness. So
Sure.
just eat lettuce instead.
Yeah. Yoa Chimbis. Hey guys, thanks for all the interesting videos and podcasts during these times. Staying inside a lot. They certainly made me want to visit Taiwan at some point. It's awesome.
That's great.
You should. Bengal Tiger in New York City. What do you think? What are your thoughts on the spread of Chinese soft power through apps? Sorry, I just lost you.
There it is.
Like TikTok, games like Genshin Impact, and tech like DJI and OnePlus. I mean,
you did a whole thing on the TikTok.
Go check it out. I did if you search Lawai86 and then TikTok, I've done probably 3 or 4 videos on.
Yeah, they're all
soft
very
power.
good. They're very good. They're fascinating.
Check it out.
Definitely.
The other stuff are just companies. I mean, their existence is soft power, I suppose. But
yeah, look, I mean, when it comes to tech companies like DJI, it's tough on that one because DJI has actually done a lot of innovative stuff that other companies have not.
Sure.
It's not like Huawei that just copied everything, right? Or, OnePlus, again, they are just basically doing a copy of something at a lower cost, giving you higher specs at lower cost, stripped down versions of stuff. It's nothing really,
correct,
spectacular. But DJI, they've made some, their drones are fantastic. And I don't know, they Pocket Osmos and stuff, people like them. It's just a camera company, though. So I like to try and separate them from the Chinese government.
For sure.
Yeah,
in a way.
Yeah, I don't see them soft powering anyone.
No. Magnum Beef, been waiting since this news broke to see y'all cover it. Glad I could catch the live stream. Thanks for everything you guys do. Enjoy a beverage of whatever variety you're imbibing these days.
Thank you.
Mostly water. And last one, Guillermo Vargas. I've enjoyed your stuff for a long time now, and I wanted to give you something in return.
Thank you.
I also have a connection to Chinese people through my wife and children. We love your channel. Have a Merry Christmas and stay awesome. You too, my man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Yeah.
Cool. Shall we?
Yeah, let's move on to our next section. Our next section, of course, is a worldview, where we talk about things around the world, specifically to do with China. Okay. And our first thing from worldview is we're going to talk about Sinovac.
Oh, well, actually, my video just dropped on that like a few hours ago. So
very good video. Go check it out.
Thank you. If you want to learn about the China's COVID-19 vaccine. Now, well, you had a good joke.
Well, I mean,
about
look,
this website. Yeah.
The fact that they still use Adobe Flash Player, it's a non-secure, it's a not secure website. A vaccine company that gives your computers viruses, you know what I mean? Doesn't cure or protect you from anything. I mean,
the irony is rich.
Yeah, it is really, really rich. Seriously. But the Chinese internet's another game. I mean, if you've lived in China, you'll know all about, the websites are just insane.
It looks like if Las Vegas had Chinese characters all over it
and floated around everywhere.
Yeah,
with little doves.
It's a different internet over there.
Exactly, and your computer has to have malware on it, otherwise it doesn't work.
Dude, it won't work. The malware keeps it together.
You have to have that 360, that Sun Liu Ling, that nonsense.
They have an anti-malware thing called 360, and it is malware.
It is malware.
And when you put it on your computer, it's mandatory in China to have it in every university. They were like, no, we have to have it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, and then when they put it on there, it literally popped up porn ads in class.
Yeah, it does.
And they're like, oh, but the kids were used to it.
Yeah.
So they didn't blame me or anything because it's sitting there popping up on the frickin' 360.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. It slows your computer down, and it uses your computer like a seeding machine.
Yeah.
So it spams your computer with all this stuff in your internet connection, but it's there to protect you from viruses.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought that was kind of funny.
That was funny.
Sinovac is also,
one of the big
scandal-ridden, one of the big guys working on the vaccines. Anyway, watch C-Milk's video. It's very good about vaccines. Guys, here we go again. Another sad story of a company being pressured to not support developers and a game developer in this point because China's feelings were hurt.
Sure.
Okay. Let's just talk about this. Devotion is a game made by a Taiwanese developer.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there's an Easter egg. It's like a scroll on the wall.
Yes.
And it says basically that Xi Jinping's Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't even look like.
No, it's just written in traditional
Chinese
script or something. So, good old games, GOG.com. They were going to release it. It was going to be released. It had been slated for release. Everything was good.
Sure.
And then the Wu Mao army, the 50 Cent army, our biggest fans, they just started attacking with their typical vitriol.
Yeah.
You've hurt the feelings of the Chinese people. This thing is terrible, blah, blah, blah. That kind of nonsense that they do all the time. Well, what happened next was very predictable. Good old games capitulated. And here you can see. Earlier today, it was announced the game Devotion is coming to GOG. After receiving many messages from gamers, we have decided not to list the game in our store.
So by gamers, they actually just mean Wu Maos.
Yeah. I don't think companies realize that there's a concerted effort. These guys that are going out, these Wu Maos that are attacking good old games and saying, you better not put this out there. They would never buy the game. They would not buy from you anyway. You're not losing a market from these guys. They just pirate stuff anyway.
Well, it's the whole Facebook theory. It's like how Mark Zuckerberg, Zuckerberg. The Zuck.
Yeah.
The Zuck himself, he's been trying to capitulate to the Chinese government for so long in hopes that they'll grant him access to China. And it just doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't.
So he does these censorship things. He allows all these things to happen for his company that really compromise his company's integrity for nothing.
Yeah.
And the same thing, GOG, I mean, like, I imagine their board meeting was probably like, well, maybe eventually we'll have access to the Chinese market or something.
I don't understand, because they said earlier today they announced. So they just announced it the same day.
They got Wuma bombed.
And you can see the Wuma down there is like, ha, 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 ha. Gandre kui guazi.
Yeah, which is like, oh, you can eat sunflower seeds now. It's like basically they're laughing.
Victory. It's like, we did it, guys.
We did it, guys. You can sit back and relax.
Exactly. We shut them down.
It's just there's acknowledgement of this. And the problem is, actually, this is quite successful. We have a theory that potentially a lot of content on YouTube and other things like that could be getting mass flagged by Wumaos too.
Oh, they are.
And it doesn't necessarily remove the content, but what it does is it stifles it, because a company's going to be worried if they get thousands upon thousands of flags.
Yes, they'll think that something must be wrong.
Right.
And that's their strength is in numbers. They're very well organized. Not only do they actually have departments that work for the Chinese government to do this kind of thing, but just forums of like lost souls, these nationalist young men who've got nothing else to do.
Right.
They get together, they put out a rally cry. These guys, it's incredibly sad to see that this is all they have going for them. It's like the only thing that gives them a purpose in life is to go out there and band together to try and shut down any company or product that has anything that might put China in a bad light. That's their job, you see.
Right.
That's their self-made job, and that's who they think they are. They're part of this army, and they're very proud of it. So they go out and do stuff like this, and literally within a day got GOG to capitulate and say, we're not going to put the game on here. So who loses in the end? Obviously the developer loses, but I think places like GOG lose their credibility too. How are you allowing yourself to be manipulated by these trolls, these sort of internet trolls?
I mean, like, certainly they have the infrastructure and technology to figure out where this stuff's coming from. No,
absolutely.
And obviously, who the most pissed off people are the developers in Taiwan and the Taiwanese people who are like, are you kidding me? This is another blow to their whole identity. They can't even be represented in a freaking video game.
Yeah, it sucks, man. It sucks.
It's horrible.
Yeah. What else do we have on the cards here? I know what we've got on the cards. We've got a questions and answers time, which is where we answer your questions and you question our answers. So, guys, hit us up with some super chats, and we'll see what we can do.
Dwayne Hunter, love you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Days of Candy, thanks for all the eye-opening content, guys. I'm happy to have found your channel this year. A virtual round of beer on me. Cheers to you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Tresham 1, little extra cuz I loved y'all's 70s cosplays this week in Worthless Whips.
Thank you.
If you guys don't know what he's talking about, maybe you can explain.
We're trying this thing. It's called the Cars of Playboy, or the Cars in Playboy, and it's on our car channel, Worthless Whips, and it's just so much fun to go through these old 70s Playboys and look at the old adverts, not only for cars but style and all the things of the day. Go through some of the historical context. I mean, the series is not doing fantastically, but you know what? Everybody who watches
the feedback's amazing.
Everybody who watches it enjoys it and loves it. We enjoy making it, so we hope more of you guys can go and take a look at it.
It's fun to make. It's fun for people to watch.
So,
sorry, JPN. What's with the 50-cent army at it again with video games? They went after GOG after Devotion's release, and HoloLive canceled the collab with Asus because of the feedback from gamers. Gamers, right? Rolls eyes.
It's not gamers. I mean, look, they obviously do game, but I feel like the games they play are really just those flash-based stab the pig collect money games, those ones?
The majority, a lot of them.
Yeah,
for sure. A collab with Asus. They canceled a collab with Asus. It's a company, dude. Just because it's from Taiwan doesn't have political connotation.
Yeah, it's life.
Gabriel Garcia, do you think the younger generation, who many dislike the government censorship online, will be able to change China's future for the better? The problem is those people were born under that blanket of censorship already.
Yeah.
So they're kind of used to it, to be honest.
Yeah.
China is my wife's generation is more international than the current generation of kids. And we thought it would be the opposite, but unfortunately it's not.
No, unfortunately not, because, they've grown up as the first generation surrounded by like just ridiculous wealth everywhere, So you see big buildings and you see cars and all,
whether they're
Ferraris.
wealthy or not.
Yeah, but you see that all around you, and so you feel like that's just the way it is. Whereas previously there was a lot of struggle to kind of raise yourself up out of a bad situation, and that really makes people strive for something better, you know.
Yes.
But when everything seems like, oh, things must be okay.
I mean, they're not necessarily happy. It's just like you look around and you're placid. Boiled frog syndrome. The surveillance state keeps buffing up, gets more and more, but you're used to it because they add on more and more under the current leadership.
Correct.
So when you're born into that, there's not a whole lot of democratic change that people are willing to do because they're not hungry. And things aren't necessarily in turmoil. Things are domestically censored so that nothing looks bad.
Yeah.
So you never know, right?
Yeah, it's a tough thing.
Jonathan Case, do you think Western media bias is making the U.S. vulnerable to the CCP? I almost hear nothing about Swalwell and Fang Fang, despite the potential damage.
Yeah. I mean, look,
it's a very broad thing.
There's a lot to be said.
We're free to say whatever we like.
Yeah.
You know?
That whole Swalwell thing, I mean, that really is just like what we were saying about all the CCP infiltration out there. You know, you've got a Communist Party member that's going around sleeping with mayors and, you know, gathering intel and digging herself into all the political people like a tick, you know. It happens, and she's just a full-blown Communist Party member. It turns out she's a spy later on. You know, all the pillow talk that she picked up on from these mayors and stuff has made its way back to Beijing and into the ear of Xi Jinping.
The fact that you know about it means that you saw something about it, so it's not like secret information.
Yeah, it's unfortunately in the West, I've noticed anyway, here in America, the media seems to focus on painting America in the worst light possible. It's a weird thing. It's like American press is the worst critique of America. They just can't stop saying how shit America is. That's like their full-time job, is just to go out there and say how shit America is every day, how shit the politicians are, how shit the streets are, how shit everyone's oppressed or whatever. Which I'm looking around and I'm saying, holy crap, guys, you are so off the mark. What a useless bunch. But, you know, in China, the media's sole purpose is to shit on other countries and praise China. So it's the complete opposite. The media over there just will non-stop praise China's achievements and praise the Communist Party and praise
you and
I
both had I'm American, you're not, but like when we both came back to the U.S., both of us had a very fresh perspective on what it means to be critical. Yeah. And we were just like, what are you guys talking about?
I know, right?
Gosh darn it.
Yeah, anyway. It was funny. We'll see.
Yeah. Some ancient Chinese wisdom from Opiated Bliss. A relative I know used to say that. You guys can read it if you like.
Okay, right.
Leong, I think that's Cantonese. Finally, you guys are drinking again. Here's more beer money. Actually,
thanks, man.
Trying to cut down.
Yeah, I had a few too many last night. I've just moved house, and I tell you what, there's nothing more upsetting than moving a house, really. You know, your whole world goes upside down. And
sucks. I wish we could like stay in one place at some point.
Yeah, anyway.
Jennifer, when I studied at University of Edinburgh, all the Chinese language tutors for the Chinese degree were Chinese students from the Confucius Institute. That makes a lot of sense.
Have you noticed how these so-called cultural exchange programs from China are always one way?
Yeah.
There's like tons of Chinese professors and Chinese students and whatever coming to universities here. But you don't see a ton of Western students and professors going there.
Sure.
And it's not out of choice. It's just, it's always in favor of the CCP. It's always one-sided in favor of one of these things. You
know? I thought it was interesting because we were talking about Confucius Institutes or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that I kept reading that the federal government is cracking down huge on cultural exchanges with China because of what they are.
Yeah.
Really, it's pretty
soft power.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to see that. If they manage to shut... Why the hell can a university not have their own language course, Chinese language course? Is it that hard?
Yeah.
Why does it have to be Chinese government funded?
Yeah, it doesn't.
You know, and the worst part is that they use American or whatever country's tax dollars to, you know, subsidize this and give them a place to do their thing from and set them up with offices, set them up with everything. It's a big, you know... I don't know how to explain, but a big conglomeration of all these, you know, like Chinese government funding, local taxpayer money, all this stuff all going together to basically just further the Chinese government's soft power propaganda.
Correct.
That's all it's for. It's such nonsense. Kick them out. Hire your own Chinese, teacher or professor. It's not that hard. There are tons of Chinese speakers and Chinese people that live in your country.
How about ethnically Chinese people that speak fluent Chinese?
That's what I'm saying. Right. It's not that hard. It's just like you get a French teacher. The French government's not setting that up.
No. And if they are, I mean, like, that's fine if it's an amicable thing, but it's
Mexico's not setting up your Spanish teacher. The Mexican government's not setting up.
It wouldn't matter because Mexico would allow us to do a U.S. exchange.
Yeah.
You understand? Like, I can't go and set up on behalf of the U.S. government, set up an American exchange program promoting the values of democracy in China. Think of how ridiculous that sounds before it sounds like we're being pig-headed.
I know. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense because there's no reciprocity. That's the issue.
Correct.
I would love to go to Beijing and set up an American Values Democratic Association.
Yeah, the George Washington Institute.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
And teach a little democracy to everybody.
Yeah, where we can rewrite history.
Yeah.
you know, like they do.
Anyway.
Oh, funny. Yeah, let's move on.
MadRox03 on your Southern China episode with the families. In the stilt homes, would it have been considered rude or improper for you to tip or leave something for their hospitality?
Oh, that's something you don't know. You don't know is that I actually did leave something, remember? Yeah. They gave us this bowl of fruit or whatever those horrible... what was that? It's like a root.
Peanuts and sweet potato.
Was it? Yeah, sweet potato. That's right, sweet potato. Not going to say it was great. In fact, it was pretty awful. But at the same time, the gesture was amazing. And, they were such friendly and genuine people. And that's the beauty of that, is that encounter was not planned. We just pulled in there because, I wanted to film that bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. We did a lot of fixing for conquering northern China. But southern China was just seat of the pants stuff, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, they had this like bowl of sweet potatoes or fruit or whatever the crap it was that they gave us. That they'd mined from the hills. Because, you mine sweet potatoes or whatever.
It's Minecraft.
Yeah. And so as we left, I slipped like 500 RMB, which is a hell of a lot. That's like, for the people living there, that's like months and months and months of wages, like if they even earn a wage. So I put like 500 RMB in the fruit basket thing under the sweet potato. So later on, I can only imagine that while they were picking up their sweet potatoes to have their dinner or something, those cold ass gross doughy sweet potato things that we ate, they'd find the money and hopefully we're very happy.
That's the thing, is all the charity Winston and I have done has never been public, and we've done that on purpose. Yeah. Unfortunately, some people like to do otherwise.
No, that's the whole point of charity. It's like you notice that if anyone brags about how tough they are, they're usually the weakest.
Makes sense.
It's the same. It's people who brag about how much charity they do. They're usually the worst people.
Makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Sharktooth says, keep up the good work, guys. Love listening to the podcast every day at work. Just in time for a beer or tea on Friday. Have a brewski on me, and thanks for all the lockdown entertainment. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's a pleasure,
It's our
mate.
duty.
Yep.
Next, we have Case Closed 93. I saw a report in Hong Kong. Protesters are concerned the loss of Trump will result in less support of them. They cite comparisons to Obama and Biden's weak response during the umbrella movement. Your thoughts?
I actually agree with them from an outsider's perspective.
Sure. There's actually two camps of that.
I understand. Just the fact of the matter is that no matter what you say about Trump, is he's very loud and blustery. And that's what China responds to.
Sure.
China doesn't respond to weak diplomacy or silent and thoughtful diplomacy, because they'll just walk all over you, because they're just like, oh, look at these idiots, and they just carry on. But if you're like, no, stop, you suck, then they're like, oh shit, they've noticed our wily ways, and it's time for us to do something about it. And that's what Trump is good at doing, is saying it's, the virus came from China. Meanwhile, China's like been favored, like, oh, actually, no, it comes from frozen food from Australia. Oh, it's salmon from Norway. Oh, it's actually from Italy. They keep trying all this crap, and they think that they're getting away with it. And maybe some morons around the world are actually buying into that.
Sure.
But then Trump would come out and say, like, no, it comes from China.
Sure.
However he used to do that thing.
Right.
And I think that really kind of made China take a step back and say, like, holy shit, he can see us. He can see what we're doing. God damn it.
Right.
And so with the umbrella movement thing, that's what they need, is they need somebody to stand up and speak on their behalf that has a global stage, someone like Trump. And I just don't see Biden doing that.
We don't know that yet.
Because he'd be like, or something, whatever he says.
We don't know yet, but
dude, I gotta say that these presidents you guys have had recently, both or whatever, whether Biden is going to be or not, I don't even know yet. The funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. I cannot tell you how many times these Biden gaffes make me laugh.
Sure.
It's some of the funniest crap it's like a comedy.
For me, I think people, especially in China, put way too much stake into what the presidency means.
Sure.
Because we have so many the federal intelligence. You have like all the stuff surrounding that operates outside of the presidency. People don't understand.
I love that the other day.
Don't be a pony soldier, dude.
What was that thing where he was like, poor people are just as bright and just as smart as white people.
That was a long time ago.
I was like, what the hell's wrong with this guy?
That's a good one.
It's the funniest shit I ever seen in my life.
I still like Donkey Face Pony Soldier. That's probably my favorite.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he said he was quoting a movie, but he didn't know what movie it was. That's what makes it even better. That's a pretty brilliant thing to say.
Pale-faced donkey soldier or whatever?
Yeah,
Dog-faced
pony soldier.
That's what it was.
Some shit. That was a good one. The fact that he came up with that's genius.
I know.
Dog-faced pony
I feel like
soldier.
it's just a brain fart.
I agree, but that's one of the most beautiful disasters.
Anyway, I'm just having fun with this whole thing.
There are two camps, though, of the protesters that people were telling me about. Anyway, Dave M. Wow, thank you so much, Dave.
Wow, that's incredibly generous. Thank you so much, mate.
Really appreciate it. Guys, massive thank you. Watching your videos has been great fun after seeing the videos of Taiwan. I finally enrolled in a safe riding course to earn my license. Nice job.
Sweet.
I'm waiting for the travel restrictions to ease for a year in Cambodia and then Taiwan. Cheers and Merry Christmas. You're
That's
have a great time.
Awesome. You're going to have the adventure of your life. It's so good.
Thank you so much, by the way.
And thank you, yes.
Sam Johnson, thank you so much. The old doctor. I wish I could give you more, guys. You're doing important work. And one of the few sources of truth out there where traditional media has failed us. You guys are picking up the ball.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Ishan. M says, if Hong Kongers migrate to the UK, Australia, USA in large numbers, the West would have non-CCP Chinese-speaking population that would spot CCP influence. That's a very good point.
It's true, although they'll be Cantonese speaking.
Doesn't matter, they still understand Mandarin.
Yeah, they do, the majority of them. Absolutely, and that's something you see anyway, depending on where you go. If you got the more traditional Chinese neighborhoods that have been there for many generations.
Taiwanese or Cantonese. Well, it's because mainlanders couldn't leave.
Yeah.
Only the recent immigrants are
That's the thing, all this leaks about the CCP stuff. These are all people that have immigrated or moved over in the last sort of 10 years or so, 10 to 15 years. So those are the people that should really be under the microscope, to be honest.
not Chinese diasporas.
And certainly not anyone who's just ethnically Chinese.
No,
that's not how it works.
Do with it, no.
It should be recent immigrants from mainland China,
That's it.
Yeah.
Really.
Especially ones that are now working in, I don't know, security companies or military or
whatever, if they're just like roaming around. But if they're in like high security positions, then you best be checking it out.
Yeah, better do a proper background check,
Yeah. Use freaking Baidu or something. I'm appalled at how much information is actually out there. When we have to do recon for stuff, like there was something that blew up the other day. It involved vegetables or something. Something along those lines. But I mean, it's just so easy to find stuff on Baidu.
Yeah, if you can speak Chinese and read Chinese, and I'm pretty sure that hopefully the intelligent agencies of whatever countries have Chinese-speaking people working for them.
Right.
Because it's just always out there. Yeah.
Milky Chan says, please do more videos. USA Patriots need you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Case closed 93. Tim Pool recently said you may be a guest on IRL. Wow.
Do you have to wear a beanie?
We'd ever be so lucky. That'd be.
Of course,
don't go on anything.
More than happy to be a part of anyone's show if they are putting out the right message. Absolutely.
I mean, we don't have to agree. Nope. I don't know much, but I do know that we're obliged to do pretty much anything. So, cool.
Reach out.
Jeremiah Johnson, Merry Christmas, boys. Hope the holidays are a good time with fams. Toss a silver bullet on the tree for me.
Will do.
Stay healthy. How did Christmas evolve in China when you boys were there? It started out as like a kitsch thing.
Yeah.
There was even like in the city I lived in, Huizhou, there was a big Christmas tree. The day I moved there was a big Christmas tree in the city center square, which I thought was interesting. That doesn't happen anymore.
No. They've started tearing down that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like...
Shopping malls, you'll still see stuff.
Yeah, it's more like there is a bit of a war against Western stuff.
Oh, big time, yeah.
So there was this huge attack. I can't remember what it was recently, like it was for Thanksgiving, some professor or something in China, a Chinese person, gave out candy or something and said, like, I'm thankful for this. And they're like getting attacked. They're like, that's not our Chinese holiday, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, unfortunately, especially under the Xi Jinping thought nonsense, they've been removing any reference to Western stuff from textbooks. They've been making sure that no Western holidays are observed. Not that they were observed. You have to understand that Christmas in China has always only ever been a money thing, you know.
Sure.
It wasn't, you didn't get a day off or anything like that. It's just like, oh, let's put up decorations and put sales on in the mall, and, you know, that's something fun for the kids to do, dress up like elves or whatever. And, you know, when you're teaching kindergarten, you know all about that shit.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a white guy, they dress you up as Santa Claus, and you have to go, like, you know, do all this stuff and give out gifts, and it's fun. It's the usual kind of festive thing that goes on. But as C-Milk said, recently they have been kind of clamping down on it. You can't put up big decorations anymore, really.
Sure.
Yeah.
Gail Mibson says, Winston, faff or even? What does that mean?
I do not know. Am I like... am I outing myself as being weird by not knowing that? I don't know.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Milky Chan.
I choose faff.
USA people need your voice. Critical do videos daily. Han W. Hi, Winston and Matt. No question. Just wanted to wish you and your families a happy holiday season. Loving the Worthless Whips channel, by the way. Thank you very much.
Great to hear.
Kevin, does the CCP consider Russia an ally or no? No. They're not an ally. They are friends of convenience. Allies of convenience.
Yeah.
Would they militarily back each other? Probably not.
Probably not, no.
Nevid Pay. I'm working on a movie script. It feels like you're the only ones who could help me with it. Would you at least consider looking at it? Sure.
Yeah.
Send it over to our...
business at ADVChina.net.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bengal Tiger New York City. Have you considered doing more streams on Twitch? We've never been invited to Twitch.
Yeah.
A lot of people do streams on Twitch and make some good money on there, too.
Interesting.
They'd probably ban us or something.
Yeah.
Nexus H.
Yeah, the Wumaos would come and say that we hurt the feelings of the Chinese people.
Yeah, because we'd be new, so we'd be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Where are we? Do daily podcasts. We heard you, Milky. Get truth out for Trump. That's not our job.
Yeah.
Joseph Goines. Are you saying that right now things are good in Hong Kong because of Donald Trump's tweets? No.
No.
Not at all.
No, we're saying how Donald Trump was standing up to China vocally was helping the morale of the people on the streets in Hong Kong.
Sure.
Absolutely was. Right. Why do you think they were saying Donald Trump, you know, don't trust China, China's asshole, you know,
sure.
and putting up like all the waving the American flag and stuff.
Sure.
It's, you know,
there was a thing. Time for that, yeah.
Yeah.
Xi Jinping says, thanks, good to see you, my man. Biden said lying dog faced pony soldier.
That's what he said. Yeah, okay, whatever. It's bizarre. Yeah.
Santi says publicizing charity is hypocrisy, in my opinion. Thanks for not doing so. You're very welcome. You don't have to say thank you for that.
No.
Thank you for your donation.
Yeah.
Siddhartha Chauhan. Great content, guys. Thank you for sharing your experience. Our pleasure. Tunei Tahitian Faya 987. Is your feud with Jayo legit or just for the sake of the show? I know you guys used to be friends.
There's no feud.
There's absolutely no feud.
I don't know why people think there's a feud.
Yeah, I think you're looking into it maybe from one perspective.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no feud.
You know, I made a video about the vegetable propaganda, which is hilarious. Yeah, and it's just pointing out exactly what's being done.
If you do Chinese propaganda, for a white monkey job, that's honestly that's fine.
Yeah,
but just say what it is. It's just it doesn't go further than that. I've exposed what my white monkey jobs I did. Yeah, you've done the exact same thing. There's no shame in that. I mean, it's a bit of a laugh, right? If it was part of an itinerary for you to go dance with vegetables, to me, that's hilarious. And then you can make a joke out of it. That's fine.
Yeah.
If somebody like you makes a video about it and pokes a little bit of fun at it, that's fine too.
Sure.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. Right. It is. It's hilarious.
And it's life.
There's no feud. Yeah.
Dustin Pearson, thanks to Wu Flu, we may not be able to celebrate with fam.
That sucks, yeah.
Some exposure there, Lol. Hope your holiday is merry and fulfilling. Thanks for the amazing content. Same here. It sucks. Yeah. My daughter, it's like heartbreaking every day. She's like, I miss, Nai and Yaya, your grandparents. Mm-hmm. My parents.
Yeah.
Julian Raiders, what's your opinion of Australia fighting back against China? It's your duty.
It's about time. Maybe a little too late.
To quote the guy going to Tiananmen, it's your duty.
Yeah. You know, that's the only thing you could do is stand up to, you know, China's been taking the piss for too long as far as Australia's concerned. Yeah, completely steamrolled the crap out of you guys. And, you know,
they're not going to stop either.
It's sad to say that, it's just sad to see this situation. You know, Australia is supposed to be a proud nation that kind of runs itself, but it's not anymore. It's just a bitch of the CCP.
By Australian.
Yeah, that's the only way we can. And you know what? They're gonna hammer your economy. They're going to browbeat you down into capitulation. Just don't. just tighten the belt.
It's gonna
cut the fat. Just
it's
deal.
gonna suck for a while, but changing your supply chains is going to take a very, very long time, and it's going to hurt short term. But it's very tempting to just be like, that's how it is now. No, you have to just suck it up and deal with it. The whole world has to decouple right now.
Yeah,
that's the position we're all in at this moment.
Yeah. Just come on, guys. Australia, stay strong.
Everywhere stay strong. That's currently having to deal with the CCP's bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. Find better friends. You learn. I don't know in school if this happened to you, but you always have that one rich kid who's a real asshole.
Oh, dude!
And it's not his own money. It's like his parents. There's always that guy.
You get arrested eventually.
Right, and everyone just kind of wants to hang around with him because he's always bringing in the best like snacks or whatever for lunch. And, he
had like a gold chain.
Yeah, if he
in like 5th grade.
Yeah, and
he always had Gushers and like cool snacks and stuff.
You kind of hang around with him because you feel like some of the wealth might like fall off. But they're always the worst assholes, and to associate yourself with them is always a bad idea. You're always going to get into trouble. The guy's just going to be a piece of shit.
I couldn't stand that guy. Yeah, he always was.
So that's really what the CCP is. He's that
the sad thing, and I think the thing that we really maybe misleading people into thinking, and this is how Chinese propaganda works on Taiwanese people, is to think that China is rich. China is rich as a nation in terms of like a nation, right? If you're talking about like per capita, what the person on the ground, it's a poor country.
Yeah,
it's very poor. Thailand is richer. Malaysia is richer.
Yeah,
you may not think that. You might think of Japan as like China. No, China is much poorer than Japan if you're talking about the people, right?
Yeah.
So when we say it's the rich kid, the government is certainly rich. that's what we're talking
that's very
about.
True. Very true. Cool.
Dan Ferentz, our boy Dan. Merry Christmas, guys, and to you too, Dan.
You too, mate. You too.
David Pei, one more time. Rescript, can I actually have a virtual meeting? I promise it will be worth your time. Just reach out to us.
We'll send an email to business@advchina.net.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I guess that's it. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We can't wait to see you in the next video. I have a video coming out tomorrow, but might be a little late. I haven't finished editing it. It has been a hell of a week. And we'll just have to see. We've got a new vehicle coming for Worthless Whips, actually. So can't wait for you guys to see that. Something new and red. Finally, we haven't had a red car.
It's not going to be red for very long.
No. But
it looks like shit.
Yeah, it does. It's going to be fun. Can't wait to see you next time, guys. Until then, you know the drill. Stay awesome.